looking at this tree-like shape here at the foreground. Okay, and to do that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put my hand about here, and I'm going to kind of do a wiggly like shape, something a bit like that. Then about quarter way down on the left hand side, I'm going to do an angled line that cuts behind this wiggly type shape, and it kind of goes up to about halfway. Okay, I'm going to do it a little bit darker than I would do normally, just so you can see it through the screen, but please do it nice and light. Okay, so I'm going to get in that first of all. The next thing I'm going to put in is this swirl that comes round and down, and then again round there. We've got our moon that's about here, and I'm just going to lightly map in some shapes where my stars are going to go here. We've got this church here and some buildings. Okay, now the church was very important to Van Gogh because he was a very religious man, and that steeple goes right high up into the sky, so we'll make it nice and tall. So I'm just going to start with an upside down V, 2 straight lines either side. I'm going to go across and draw that sort of shape. I'm going to draw a little rectangle on top and a nice tall steeple up high. Now if you want to draw your buildings in different shapes, that's fine. I've chosen to change my shape of building than to the ones that are in Van Gogh, because it's just going to be a Van Gogh inspired painting. Okay, so I've just put some building type shapes here. Now we've got these fluffy, looks like trees or bushes. We've got some hills here, so I'm just going to put some of those shapes here so I know where they are. And I've got a bit of a mountain that comes here, and that becomes a mountain down there. So that's my sketch so far. Okay, I'm not going to do any more pencil work. I'm going to start straight into the paint. Now what we want to do is get a nice watery background colour in the sky, but it's going to be a blue colour. So I'm just going to mix my blue with lots and lots of water, and I'm just going to paint it. I'm going to try and avoid the stars where possible. Keep it nice and watery because we're going to mix the thick colours over the top of it. So it really at this point does not have to be perfect. Okay, sometimes you might splash your page like I've just done, so it's really handy to have your tissue. You can just dab up your colour like that. Okay, sometimes I'm just going to dip my paintbrush in water and just take over whatever blue I've got left on my brush. So this is called a background colour wash that we're doing here, and it's just so it's something for the paint to work on top of. Okay, so just nice and light. And that moon. And round. So I hope you've all been doing some artwork while school's been closed. I've been doing some. I've done a big painting, a big canvas painting. And I know that lots of teachers as well have got involved with something called Pop-Up Painting Live, which is on YouTube. It's free to follow, and they do generally weekly or sometimes twice a week art classes where they'll recreate a famous picture, a bit like we're doing now, using painting. However, they always say, like I'm saying here, use whatever materials you have at home, biro, pencil, crayon. It's just a bit of fun really, and there's been some really good artworks. If you have a little look on the school website, you'll see what some of your teachers have been up to, some of the artwork that's on there. And if you send in your artwork too, we'll put your work up obviously. Alright then, so that's just a bit of a background colour. Okay, as you can see, it's not perfect. I'm going to put lots and lots of colour over the front of it. So that is the first thing we're going to do. Next thing, I want to let that dry because I want to get a really thick colour on the top of it. And if I work too quickly onto there, the colours will just bleed together. So I'm now going to be mixing up a dark blue, and I'm probably just going to mix it in that end pot there. So a dark blue, but again, really watery. So I'm just going to put lots of water in there. And I'm going to go over the tree. There we go. And in fact, I'm going to keep it nice and watery, but I'm just going to go right over the top of these buildings. Over my church. Over everything. Okay, I can still see my pencil lines through it quite easily because the colour's nice and watery. There we go. Okay, so everywhere we've just got a bit of colour, apart from the stars, because yellow finds it hard to go over the blue, so I'm just going to paint those in as they are. Okay, alright, I'm checking that we're still in view. Yes. So what we're going to do first of all, I'm going to use my yellow first of all. This changes every time I paint it. Sometimes I start with a swirl in the middle, sometimes I start with the stars. Okay. So I'm mixing up a strong yellow. So I'm giving it a good stir, making sure my paintbrush is nice and pointy. Okay. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to paint those circles like that. Now when you're painting, if your paint's too runny, just give it an extra stir. If you're finding it's breaking, your line's breaking as you're painting, just add a little bit more water. Okay, and there's our moon. Okay, and next I'm going to use my yellow, and I'm just going to put little dashes, and you can see I'm moving my paintbrush closer towards the tip as I'm doing this. I'm just put some little dashes going right the way around those stars. So dash, dash, dash. Okay. So they're just tiny little dashes right the way around. Okay, so they don't come out like the rays of a sun. They're not going out from the sun. They're going circling around. And again, I'm just going to put these little dashes on top of the blue now. Give an extra stir, get a stronger colour. I'm going to go over that sun, that star. No, what am I on about? That moon. A little bit. Just a darker colour. I think it's just a bit of gold into that. There we go. There we go. And same with those going to put little bits. I'm not painting over the whole thing, I'm just putting a bit of, just a few little bits of mark making going around. And that's how Van Gogh paints. He paints in mark making, which is little dashes. We have a little look at his painting here. We've got big lines coming around where this wind swell is coming through around here, and then lots of small dashes, but he's not painting as we normally would paint. He's painting in dashes, mark making we call it. So that's exactly how we're going to paint. I'm just going to mix a little bit of red in, and I'm just going to put a bit of red in here and around there as well. Some of these, I'm just going to put little bits of red. Okay, now we're going to do the swirl. So I'm going to clean my brush. I'm going to use my paper towel just to dry out that blue, because it was still very watery from when we did our background. I'm going to give it a good stir, and I'm going to holding my paintbrush about where that line of the brush goes, and using the tip of my brush, I'm just going to do a swirl going around. And then again like that. Then I'm going to do, I've mixed up there a bit of a darker blue, and then I'm going to do a line that comes around there and above the line. So I'm going to do a line above that blue line and a line below it. Kind of nice big lines that are broken a little bit as they do. Okay. Then all it's a case of is just choosing lots of sky colours, blues, dark blues, mix a bit of green into it, and you're just going to do little dashes in that background sky. And we're going to layer up lots and lots of colour over the top of that. There we go. Little dashes, and they kind of swirl, just kind of wrap around the stars. And if your paint goes a little bit lighter, that's fine. Oh, I quite like that. My brush is kind of splitting. It's giving even smaller marks. Okay. I'm going to move to a bit of a dark blue now. I'm going to do some little dashes. And I say they're going around. Let's move that away a little bit. So I'm just using the very tip of my brush, and I'm just doing dashes. I might mix a bit of green in with my blue. Do a few more. And this is where you're just going to keep building up dashes after dashes after dashes. So it's not long before that sky is filled. Just remember, when you're doing these centre ones, do nice long dash lines. So here, it doesn't matter if you use what shades of blue you're using. So you don't have to be following me exactly.